We're talking about Unreal Engine 6 when Unreal Engine 5 games still struggle. Epic announces Unreal Engine 6 via Rocket League.
What? Don't we get like every other month like an Unreal Engine 5 game that's unoptimized as shit? The developers working for Destiny 2 did not know that that was going to happen. I think that's a very, very questionable decision to make. Now we get the financial report and it's very, very bad. 2 pieces of stock from Ubisoft for a pack of cigarettes in the UK. I think that's a fantastic development in Ubisoft business.
Sometimes, some franchises, it's clear when they need to stop.
We're just gonna have to wait and see. Welcome back. Welcome back. Has been a long time, hasn't it?
It's been a long time. Yeah, indeed.
We've had a break for about 1 week because George was on vacation.
Yeah, I was in New York City, in fact.
How was it?
That was a very good. Yeah, it was good. Yeah, it was good. It definitely a travel that everyone has to do once. It's not like, it's one of those like travels that you need 5 days tops in order like to have everything. But yeah, it's a nice city, actually. It's a very nice city.
Yeah, I bet it should be.
I hope one day though we will be able to go to LA for Summer Game Fest.
Yeah,
that would have been insane.
Yeah, that's
or Gamescom, which is closer to us.
That's a dream. If we can make it a reality, if we get like, if we can get our fan base to support us, and sometime we can do the trip and be a part of the Games Fest,
Yeah, hopefully. That's a dream of ours, 100%.
So, I will do the honors, as always. Welcome to a brand new episode of the Gamelitical Correct podcast. My name is Michael.
And my name is George.
And we're going to dive in right away to the gaming news that we missed from last week and the new ones from this week. So, should we start off talking about Bungie? What news do we have from Bungie?
Are we going from Bungie? I thought we were going with Ubisoft. That's good. So,
it's all right.
Yeah, as you understand, today's episode is going to be mainly for Ubisoft and Bungie's
basically depressing stuff and drama.
Yeah, as always.
as it seems, yeah, it's always like that.
I think there was some like announcements from Bungie recently that they will stop supporting Destiny 2.
Mm-hmm.
Like they will stop like doing content and everything, and I think they shifting towards their main focus actually at the moment is Marathon, which
sucks.
I don't know. I don't know if it sucks. It's most of the people they saying that it's a very, very good game, but the numbers is what really like, makes me worried about this decision. Because if you actually like take the numbers in consideration, right? Destiny 2 has a very large fan base, and Marathon is a new game and didn't like get all the numbers that they wanted.
Sure.
Obviously, it's a very old franchise from 90s, and it was a completely different game back then. It was an extraction shooter multiplayer. It was, I think, an immersive single player game. But yeah, I don't know. Just like it's one of those things that, again, taking some decisions that doesn't make sense, and people they're just they've been really confused about what's happening, what's going on. Because Destiny 2 is a massive franchise.
Yeah, I think so. I think it sucks. Okay, I'm just gonna go straight for the controversial take. Okay.
Yep.
First of all, I would like to say that is a very good thing that Bungie is going to stop supporting the live service aspect of the game. But after the June of 2026, when the game is going to receive the final update, the game is still going to be playable online, and the game is not going to be killed after.
Yeah, that's the only good thing,
Yeah,
actually. Yeah.
I mean that's the basically the best thing that could happen to this game after we've had like the European Parliament and Stop Killing Games. We had the hearings. We
Mm.
had, uh, you know, we've had progress to this situation that we've been facing with all of these games that have been dying because the developer had stopped supporting the game entirely and it stopped working altogether. But this is, I think, it's the first example after the European Parliament hearing for Stop Killing Games that this is actually happening now.
Let me correct you on this one. Bungie didn't seem that they've been affected by the stop killing games because they've been doing that with the. They already done that with the Destiny One. Destiny One is up and running
I
after
mean,
so many years.
yeah, but that was way, way before. It was
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
years before.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes,
So they didn't get affected by the whole movement. So they already, on their defense, they're already doing it
yeah,
so many years
okay,
before.
yes, that's fair. That's fair. But it's the first time it happens after the hearing in the European Parliament.
Yeah,
That being said, on the other hand, I want to talk about what Bungie did. That was a very questionable decision, right? Bungie announced that the game was going to stop receiving, the live service support, and the devs,
contents.
the developers working for Destiny 2 did not reportedly, allegedly, okay, did not know that that was going to happen. Devs were actually still making new content for the game, content, okay? And the developers learned that at the same time as the gamers. They they
Yeah,
found out online just like we all did. I think that's a very, very questionable decision to make. Basically, they will stop supporting the game, but the developers working on it did not know anything about it.
yeah.
I mean, let's. I think it's a very important thing to think about. Isn't that wasteful as well? Like the devs are actually working on the game that you are going to stop supporting, but you are spending money for the developers to still make content. So isn't that wasteful?
I think what's the thing that I have, like, how can I say? I'm thinking about the whole thing.
Yeah.
You know, is that the whole thing screams that Sony didn't want them like to go further with Destiny 2
Mm.
because they make some like further, very bad decisions already with monetization and cosmetics and all that, with the new expansions not selling very well. And they decided, the people from above, obviously, one day, as it seems, because as you said, the developers have zero clue that this thing will happen, so they were working on a new content, if it's true,
Allegedly, yeah.
as you mentioned, allegedly. Yeah. So I think, yeah, it was one moment, it was one of those things that there was an internal meeting, they announced it, and thank God we have it like as fast as they can, but it was way unprofessional for the people that were working on the project and the new content, if they were doing it, obviously. And yeah, it's one of those things that is, yeah, it's really unprofessional. It's like, and they're wasting a lot of money. Yeah, it's one of those, I don't know. First of all, the whole thing that I don't understand is exactly what I said to you at the beginning. Is like how Destiny 2, how Bungie decides that they need to ditch Destiny 2, which was one of the biggest live service games ever, right?
Yeah, still to this
And
day.
go with the and go with a new game that so far the numbers, they're not even like, I don't know, like how much they cost for how much the production cost for that game, like 400 million.
Something like that.
And
Something
I read
absurd.
somewhere, I might be wrong, but I heard somewhere that they haven't even make the money of the production
How
yet.
could they with those numbers? How could they? These are not numbers
I don't know,
that,
dude.
a successful game, especially a live service game, has, so that it can be profitable. No question about it. And Destiny 2, 100% was making more money to this day than Marathon,
Yeah.
because Marathon hasn't even, you know, they haven't even gotten the invested money back from the game. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Marathon,
Mixed
as
feelings, man.
as good as it is, and how great of a, a history it has behind it, it doesn't seem like this is the right choice to make. Maybe, maybe now that the devs will focus on Marathon, now it's going to be a huge game. Maybe it's going to be very profitable. I don't know. It just seems like it's not. I don't know. It seems like a bad decision to me.
The thing is that they haven't stopped there, because based on a Bloomberg like post, they were saying that Bungie planning a significant number of layoffs
Mm.
as well with that thing.
Can we, by the way,
So
can we stop referencing websites, because I don't want to do the edits hiding the ads. It took me like two
yeah,
and a half hours last time. The, the
you don't need to do that anyway. But yeah,
uh, I
that
don't
was a
like.
nice edit, though.
It was a
That
nice
was so
edit.
funny.
Yeah, it was a nice edit, but it takes forever, and I do
Yeah,
not want to show another site on this on this
yeah,
podcast.
okay. No
It,
worries. You don't need to do any black spot. Don't worry, dude.
yeah,
It's
at
fine.
least I tried, and we got something funny out of it. If
Yeah, yeah.
anybody watching doesn't know what I'm talking about, just go to the previous episode. It's somewhere in the middle. It
Yeah,
was
it's a very funny one.
it was a Reuters article that we talked about, and the page was filled with ads, and I had to hide them anyway.
Yeah. So Banzi obviously proved they have the experience, and they proved that a shooter could become a long-term hobby game. You know what I mean? And they succeeded with the first Destiny and the Destiny 2.
Mhm.
Like it was one of the first like live service shooter games ever, and was obviously one of the first like FPS MMO games.
Yep.
So the only thing that if someone will say, you know what, Destiny 2, it wasn't very successful in the last like 2 or 3 DLCs, expansions, whatever they call it, it is because they never listen the player base, dude.
Yeah.
They never listen any feedback. And we know that for many years now that if you want to make a successful live service game, you cannot just ignore the player feedback.
Of course.
You can't. You just can't, dude. It's one of
Live
the vital
for the
moments,
live service
my
games,
vital things. Yeah,
for the
it's
live
one of
service
the
games,
vital
and any
things.
games, just in general.
Yeah, 100% with that, 100%. But all I'm trying to say is like, especially for a live service game, that it's not one and done. You're not having like you are not spending 200 million, let's say, pre-production, ship your game, and then you will start banking. It's one of those games that you need to actually generate money in order to push the new updates, to push new expansions, to put new content updates, everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the monetization is vital for a live service game.
I mean, yeah, it definitely is, but uh, can they do that again with Marathon? Like, the game has already been launched, and it doesn't look great, especially from the numbers. I
Yeah,
think killing live support on Destiny 2 and moving the staff, the devs over to Marathon. Marathon is a game that is not doing well by any definition of the word. Uh, I think it's not a good idea. They might prove us wrong. Okay, they might prove me wrong.
Yeah, probably.
They
But it's highly unlikely, man,
yeah.
because Marathon Bungie decided to make a very unique and very niche genre
Mm-hmm,
to make Marathon in it. Extraction shooters, they are very they're very niche genre. It's a very difficult to sell to mainstream players. You know what I mean?
mm-hmm,
Destiny 2, on the other hand, we've seen so many years now that people they love a new MMO, a good MMO experience. You know what I mean? Like have like a nice guilds and have a huge communities, large communities. Go do content together, raids, dungeons, whatever. You know, exploring the world. It's completely like different genres. You know, extraction shooters are very like difficult genres. You know,
mm-hmm.
to maintain players because it's one of those things that they have hardcore PvP focus. They're hardcore PvP focused games. You kill someone, they're losing
Yeah.
everything. You know what I mean? And most of the people they don't. Most of the people they don't like that.
Mm.
Most people they really hate this aspect. You know that I work hard to have to build like an inventory of like 5 or 6 million like stash, and then I'm gonna take my gear that costs 500,000. I'm going out. Someone's gonna kill me. That's it. I'm losing. I lost
I have to
everything. You know
start
what I mean?
again. Yeah,
Yeah.
can be frustrating. I'm one of those people. I don't like that. I don't like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but uh, yeah, that's my take on Bungie. I don't know. I really don't think that was a good decision. I mean, I get like after 10 years to stop supporting a game, kind of get that. Maybe they thought that they got what they wanted from the game, like after all these 10 years.
Yeah.
But
They might make a sequel as well.
yeah, but gaming
Destiny 3.
gaming is also about trends. So gamers will hop on whatever is new.
Yeah, yeah.
Now that Marathon is out, and the hype, let's say, they never had any hype, but the hype has passed already, and now they're moving their developers into Marathon. But the game is already out. The people have tried it and moved on, and I don't know. I don't know. Maybe they can have a good comeback, but I think it's highly
I
unlikely.
see I see your point. I see your point about like, players want something new and following trends, but I would like to argue with that
Mhm.
because on this genre, I mean MMOs, any live service games, if you actually break down the whole genre, let's say like let's make it a broad thing and let's say that live service games, right?
Mm.
People they still playing Overwatch. People they still playing something that's gonna make you crazy now. Playing WoW, a game from 2004, bro.
Yeah,
Like, it's one of those things that if you have a good community, a good numbers of good a good number, people they will follow you. If you're having a very good game, they will follow you for years. And one of the biggest proofs right now is definitely WoW. Players they still playing WoW after probably 22 years. You know what I mean? That's crazy.
that
The
is
player
crazy. Yeah,
retention.
that's of course that is crazy. But with Marathon, people came in and they left, but now they have to do
Yeah,
something to bring those people back in.
I think the argument goes more that people they need new trends, and if Banzi saw the new trend is marathon, and they have to ditch Destiny 2. That was a mistake, you know what I mean? Because they could have like a very nice game. They could listen the community, and they could still have like probably 1 million players concurrent in all platforms. You know what I mean? Because it's a very huge console game
Hmm.
as well. A lot of players from PS4, but from PS they playing and PS and Xbox. On top of that, Steam obviously. A lot of PC players.
Hmm.
Like people they starving for this good new content that is actually good from Bungie on Destiny 2. They've been starving like for years. Like if you go to forums, you will see. I play Destiny 2 myself a little bit, but if you go to the forums, Twitter, whatever, they're baffled. They're really bitter right now that they found out that our, their favorite game, because for most people, like many people actually on this industry, like they love Destiny 2,
Mm-hmm.
and it's one of those things that if you feel, obviously you feel bitter if you learn that, you'll find out that your game is gonna die, basically.
100%. Like the fans of Destiny 2 are super bummed out that the game is going, to have the support ended, live support ended in June. But I have mixed feelings. I just want to see what Marathon is going to do from now on. We're just gonna have to wait and see. That's I think that's the takeaway we have right now, that we need to wait and see. It's
Yeah,
obviously so. It's obviously bad that you know Destiny 2 players don't have support anymore. Will not have support anymore after June, but I think it is what it is in that aspect. Like a company cannot support a game forever. Maybe for like WoW, as you said, they support this game for decades now, but that's WoW and that's Blizzard. Not everybody's like that. Not every company's like that.
yeah, but we're talking about like a very bad decisions as
Yeah,
well
of
from
course.
from Blizzard, but they will never gonna go under 5 million people. You know what I mean? Like they will never, like people, they will keep being there. Like there is people that they actually playing the 2004
Yeah,
version. Like they playing classic,
classic
bro.
WoW. Yeah,
More people they playing classic
I
right
think
now
I
than
think WoW.
retail,
I think
whatever.
WoW has turned into like a cult or something, uh, and it's not.
Yeah, it's a culture, isn't it? It's a pop culture.
Not culture. It's a straight up cult. Like
Yeah,
I think it's not applied into all examples because it's on a different level. Is what I'm trying to say. It's not the same.
yeah.
But anyway,
But it's not only that. It's like if you will go to the MMO genre, you will see that the most of the games that they're actually like alive until today, they're games that are like more than that they're older than 10 years.
yeah,
Guild Wars 2 is 14 years old game. Final Fantasy 14 is a very old game, more than a decade. ESO, Elder Scrolls Online, obviously is more than a 10-year game. You know what I
hmm
mean? That's what I'm saying. It's like the whole genre. They don't care too much about. Obviously, we're talking about big franchises, but Destiny is one of those big franchises as well.
hmm
Especially Destiny 1 was a very good game. Destiny 2 at the beginning was a massive game as
yeah,
well. But it's difficult. Yeah, live services are really difficult games. But Destiny 2 did not fail because it was a bad idea
yeah. No,
or because it was an MMO. It was clearly because they didn't listen to the community.
yeah, of course. At least people are going to be able to still play the game. It's not
Yeah.
it's not dead. uh they are just ending the live service support, so we'd love to
And
see it.
let's hope. And just before we close this, to go to the new one anyway,
Mhm.
to Ubisoft news. And let's hope the number of layoffs will not gonna be massive from
Yeah,
Bungie.
yeah.
I don't know, dude.
Hopefully they won't lay off a lot of people so they can move them to Marathon. Yeah, but if that
Hopefully,
doesn't work out as they wanted to, then we're gonna get a lot of layoffs, definitely.
not a good history with Sony's. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It proves that Sony did an acquisition and it wasn't a very good idea.
Mm.
That they just went for the live service and they thought that Bungie gonna help them, but I don't think that they actually Sony helped Bungie too much. Yeah, let's see.
We'll see. So before
It's
we
one of the
move on
fumbles.
to the Ubisoft news, would you like to do the short topics that we have prepared for?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, that's gonna be a nice
let's do
idea.
our shorties. love our shorties, right?
Yeah.
So let's talk about the new 007 game, 007 First Light. We've seen our a few trailers, and the game is coming out tomorrow, I think, at the time of this recording.
Yep.
It's kind of a bad timing for us that the game is coming out tomorrow and we are recording today. What can you do
Yeah.
with it? Is what it is. So we had early reviews. The average is about at 88 out of 100. Uh,
For Metacritic,
yeah,
yeah,
for
and I
Metacritic.
think around 90 is OpenCritic,
Yeah, yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
it? Somewhere.
I think the game looks great. It's it's very good.
Small game, I think 14 hours, 15 hours tops,
Yeah,
something like that.
I don't think for a 007 game you need anything more. I mean,
No,
a
definitely not.
linear game experience is what the game needs. Actually, that's.
Plus with the sandbox options,
Hmm.
if they will go with the Hitman route, obviously it's IO Interactive that makes it.
Hmm.
So if they will go with the Hitman sandbox route, then you will see a lot of like you will spend a lot of hours to experiment how you
Yeah,
will kill everyone and stuff. Yeah, it's
yeah,
gonna be they will generate
yeah,
content
yeah.
for
I hope that they are going to, follow the Hitman route because the gameplay mechanics and you could do anything that you can think of in the Hitman game. So I think even if it's like half of that whole thing, I think it's gonna be great. Um,
yeah.
I think it was about time that we've had a good 007 game. It's been decades.
Yeah, it's been
It's
decades
been
indeed.
decades.
And obviously,
We haven't
yep,
had a good
carry on.
game, good 007 game since GoldenEye.
It's his 90s game,
Yeah, it's
early
not. It's
late
in the
90s
'90s.
somewhere.
I, I'm like, bro,
You're baffled, yeah. You're
like,
baffled, you know?
bro, 007. Like the
Yeah.
last game was almost 3 decades ago.
Yeah, dude.
Like
That's too
we
much, you know?
need we need one good game, 007. I don't even want it to be amazing. I want it to be, pretty good.
Good.
It needs that. The franchise needs that. It's after all these years, we have
On the
to.
paper, IO Interactive, it's, is one of the, I would say, one of the only studios that they could make a nice James Bond,
Hmm.
obviously from the
Yeah,
Hitman history. This game screams Hitman.
yeah.
Not too much, but it has because it's a different, obviously, game, but it still has a lot of stuff like
It
you can
should. It should.
disguise, you can stealth, you can do all that.
Should.
So
But we need what separates Hitman from 007 is the character. The main
obviously, yeah,
character. Hitman Agent 47, with all due respect, great character, but he could never touch James Bond, okay? Not in
nah,
a
he
million
can't.
years. That man says nothing. And that's his character, right? That's his main thing.
Yeah,
But you need an actual character, a lot of character depth actually to have a 007.
yeah,
I'm interested
definitely.
what the developers are going to do with that, and the writers, of course.
We'll see. We'll see.
Of course,
It looks good,
looks good at the moment. It
but yeah,
has
we'll see.
some great reviews. Tomorrow we are going to see uh, what the game is all about when it comes out.
Yeah, there's been some controversies. Don't get me wrong, but yeah,
Eh.
like in every game release, as always, you'll have like the culture war around all the time, and
It,
they try like to hate or
it's a
like not hate and
007
praise.
game. What the hell? Well, like, do we need to argue
Yeah,
about anything? I mean,
or if it's not faithful, or
come on.
anyway,
Anyway,
yeah.
so
So there we go.
I this is a short segment in our podcast today, but I think it's gonna be your favorite to talk about.
Okay.
Warhorse. Look at his face. Look at this guy's face. As I said in the
You will
first,
lose me.
as I said in the
You will
first
you will
episode,
lose me, bro. You will lose me for many years.
as I said in the first episode, George's wet dream, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I said that. I said that. Yeah,
we called it.
true.
We called it. It was a rumor. We've heard about it. It wasn't. We didn't break the news or anything, but we talked about Warhorse developing a new Lord of the Rings RPG title. I'm gonna leave it up to you.
Okay. So it's not only the Lord of the Rings. Let's speak about like the KCD3 as well,
Uh,
if they were gonna name it
yes,
KCD3. So
I
at
was
the
gonna.
moment,
Yeah.
yeah, at the moment, Warhorse Studios confirms the new Lord of the Rings, obviously, and that they're working on the two projects at on the same time, the Lord of the Rings and the Kingdom Come Deliverance sequel, either three or whatever. Probably is gonna be three. Huge news for them, obviously.
Huge
Obviously,
news.
because I love this studio. You have no idea how much I love this studio. After I played for the first time KCD2 in 2025 last
Mhm.
year, I need to play the first one as well. 100%, it will happen. But I have like some other priorities at the moment. But definitely, I'm gonna do it. Yeah, I can't wait for the new KCD2, which the community. One of the things that I want to say is like the community director, the community manager, actually,
Mhm.
he said that if everything goes right, it comes next fiscal year, which is means anything anywhere like between 27 28.
Yes,
So
that's crazy.
before before we press the rec, you said that you don't know you think it's kind of unlikely to happen.
Let me say this, okay? The last game that they produced came out last year, right?
Yeah,
Okay, came out last year. We had
massive
to,
game.
of course, of course. This is not a AAA studio.
Now I think it is.
Maybe now it is, but it became after the success of the game.
Yeah,
Okay, so
yeah,
they probably didn't. There wasn't enough time. There hasn't been enough time since then to scale up so fast to a AAA studio, and also at the same time work on a next title. In
yeah,
my mind, right? Okay, hear me out. Hear me out. So the game came out last year, and they're saying they're gonna have a new KDC title coming out on the next fiscal year, which is late 2027 or early 2028. Am I right?
yeah. Maybe March. Yeah, till March.
Okay.
Yeah,
So that means they are going to produce a new title, a new KDC title. Obviously,
yeah,
we are expecting bigger and better from the last one. Okay.
yeah,
In 2.5 years max.
yeah.
Does that sound in this day and age feasible to you? Because it does not sound feasible to me.
Yeah, I know what you mean. If it's gonna be 2028, it will be, yeah, 3 years and something, yeah, and half. You're right. Uh, yeah, it's not possible, especially for such a big RPG, such a big open world immersive game as KCD2 is, Kingdom Come Deliverance. Yeah, it's really difficult to do it. But right now they have way more personal 100%. They're AAA company now in order to work in two AAA games on the same time, which is KCD3 and Lord of the Rings,
Mm-hmm.
because I think they confirm it that they're both of them gonna be AAA games. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 was a double A. You were right about that, but after the acquisition from Embracer, I think Embracer thinks that they have a lot of potential as a studio, and they have a lot of faith to them, so they will give them more resources. If they will actually release it on 2028, which I don't know if it's gonna be in the next fiscal year. It's gonna be probably it will be 2028, but it will be at the end.
Yeah.
If it will be, I think it will be at the end, like November.
I mean, most probably.
October.
I cannot wrap my head around the idea of a game at this scale coming out so fast. I don't know why. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know why. Maybe I'm used to like companies taking 16 years in development for a game.
Yeah.
I don't know, but
if because we were discussing about that in the last episode.
Yeah.
Make sure you go and check this out.
Yeah.
I have the feeling that if they will deliver, then it's 100% two things 100% sure, right? They have massive team.
Yep.
Now they have massive team, and they definitely the use of AI helped.
Yeah.
To speed up the process.
Yeah. How else?
That's what I'm thinking. We are not trying to accuse them that they're using like AI and stuff. Probably they will use some sort of like agents to help them and make their lives easier. We are not talking about Gen AI, just to make it clear.
Using AI, it's not bad, not inherently bad. That's my take on
as long as we said that already. Anyway, as long as they are not replacing humans with AI, then
yes, using AI is not inherently bad. Okay, it's not like, oh, you use AI, that's bad. Like that's not 100% true. If you use a lot of generative AI and you replace people and you lay off developers, yeah, that's bad. Yeah, 100%. But using AI in general is not.
Even studios that they try, like they haven't been clear about AI. I'm pretty sure that they're using. Like even if they were saying that they haven't said anything, actually they haven't mentioned it. So 100% everyone is using right now. Let's be honest. There's no way they haven't used like AI for emails and writing some code, and as we mentioned last time, I mean, as a tool. All the studios they created, they're using it.
100%. And let me tell you this. Let's say you're a developer working in a company making games, right? Okay.
Yeah.
You get direct, you get directions from the company to not use AI.
Yeah.
You as a person, are you not going to cheat a little bit and use AI?
Probably.
I mean, even if the company...
Nothing massive.
Yeah, of course. But even if the company says that it doesn't use AI, will every single developer independently make the decision to not use AI? People are using AI to become doctors.
Yeah.
And you're saying me, like, you're telling me that people are not going to use AI to create assets in a video game? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah. I mean, they're already using assets, not with AI.
I mean,
they already they have the library, the Unreal Engine 5, which will go now.
Yeah. Yeah.
They have the Unreal Engine 5 store that they have like all the assets, and how many games, Unreal Engine 5 games, you see that they're flipping assets from other games, other creators, That's what it is anyway. So that's not a big deal for me. You know what I mean? That's if they will actually deliver, then we will prove it will be almost a proof. You know what I mean? That the team is massive right now, which we know that is massive. It's way bigger than before. That's why I'm saying massive. So for them, massive, we could be like 300 people. Before they were working with 40. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like it's massive number.
They have 2 buildings now instead of 1.
Exactly. So yeah, I don't know, dude. Just I can't wait for this for those games, and you should play KCD.
Yeah,
KCD 2, dude.
If I
or 1, whatever.
if I have to take days off to make this podcast possible, okay? I don't have
Yeah,
any
no.
time. I don't have any time, but I will get in there. At this moment, I'm playing. We are actually both playing Disco Elysium, and
Yeah,
I'm still playing.
that's my priority at
Yeah,
the moment.
and I'm still playing Slay the Spire 2 when I have time. Like
Yeah,
a run
like
in Slay the
always.
Spire 2 takes like about an hour. So if I have an
It
hour.
drains you. It drains you.
No, 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 no. I'm just saying that if I have like a free hour in my day, I'll just hit a run and Slay the Spire 2. If it's just
Yeah,
1 hour, I'm just not gonna bother play Disco Elysium because it takes so much time and you need all your focus in it. So
yeah, yeah. It's a very dialogue focused
yeah,
based heavy
and
game, so you
also
have to actually
and
be.
also KDC too. You need to be,
KCD, yeah,
you need to
KCD is
be
100%
you
is
need to
one of
be
those.
mentally focused to enjoy it as an experience. I'm not gonna just rush it.
It's
In,
it's not that much as Disco
I mean,
Elysium
yeah.
because Disco Elysium is a lot of text based, but yeah, it's definitely more fun to play than Disco Elysium. I'd say.
Yeah, of course, but you still need to be focused in the game.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. You should do that though. When you will finish, when you will clear the
Um,
time, you need to actually focus on that.
after the season, because I work seasonally, guys.
Yeah,
After the season, I'm not just going into unemployment. I'm going into hibernation.
the
So
hibernation.
so I will play every game that I've ever wanted to play
You
in
love to.
next winter. That's the plan, anyways. I'm not saying anything on concrete yet, but that's the plan.
Yeah. So let's go to the most weird news that we ever heard in the last week, right?
Hmm.
Actually, it was today or yesterday.
It
I don't
was
remember. Something like that.
3 days ago.
Epic announces Unreal Engine 6 via Rocket League. I don't
What?
get it, dude. I don't get it. Really,
um,
it's one of those. What? Yeah.
has Unreal Engine 5 been perfected yet? Don't we get like every other month? Don't we get like an Unreal Engine 5 game that's unoptimized as shit?
Yeah, that's true. I don't know, dude. This Unreal Engine 5 is definitely not there yet.
Hmm.
Is underbaked. It's not even, fully cooked. And now we're announcing Unreal Engine 6. How we jumping
Like,
so
uh,
much? We're talking about Unreal Engine 6 when Unreal Engine 5 games still struggle, I mean,
yeah,
and
of
they haven't
course.
even perfect, as you said, like optimization, especially, which is the biggest
So
issue.
so Epic Games comes out with Unreal Engine 5, right? Okay.
Yeah.
The incentive for the companies to use Unreal Engine 5 is huge, right? So we can expect that it's going to be the same for 6, the Unreal Engine 6. Okay, so the games that come out with Unreal Engine 5 are underperforming because Unreal Engine 5 is unoptimized, it's unfinished, it's not ready yet. And while that's happening, still to this day, Epic Games comes out and says, "Hey guys, hey, you know what would be a great idea? Yeah, you using that piece of shit, Unreal Engine 5? Well, you want to know what we're cooking? Unreal Engine 6, bro. 6.
I don't get
The,
it, dude.
you've been making trash games because of us. Now you have to go to the new one, which is I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. To me, it proves one or two things, right? Okay, one or two things. Either Unreal Engine 5 is trash, okay, and
And
we
they rushing.
and
Yeah.
we just need to move on. Like, okay, this is this was a mistake. Let's move on to the new one, which is better. Maybe. Or is it too soon just to move on to the next one?
It is too soon. 100%. But
Basically, I'm saying
obviously,
if like if it's too soon, is Unreal Engine 6 going to be bad as well? Excuse me.
there is a good chance to be better. And I'm saying that because Unreal Engine 5, even though has a lot of problems, the Nine and Lumen technologies that they brought, they were impressive technologies.
Mhm.
But I think because there is a very, you know, it's a very difficult to optimize a game in this engine, and it is a really bad. A lot of stutters, and as
Mhm.
the most obvious ones,
Yeah, of course.
shader stutter, traversal stutter, and high system requirements, which is one of the huge stuff. You know what I mean? Like, and there is obviously an over reliance on DLSS and frame generations and all that. You know what I mean? Like all these games, I don't think that you could play any game ultra 4K or whatever, natively.
No,
I don't think you will be able to do that. Like
no.
they're
Even
really like
even with a
30 FPS.
1590, you're gonna do that.
Yeah, it's really difficult. So I think there is a problem. What I'm feeling is that there is a problem with the engine at the moment,
Mm-hmm.
and they probably pushing Unreal Engine 6, so creating a new engine basically because they couldn't fix these problems. That's what I'm thinking. I might be wrong completely, but yeah, it's one of those. You have like Witcher 4 like ditching Red Engine, which in my opinion is criminal. But and they going to Unreal Engine 5, you know what I mean? And now they will go to Unreal Engine 6.
Imagine.
It's not
Oh,
difficult. They will do it. But that's what I'm saying. Like they're working on Unreal Engine 5 and then Unreal Engine 6 come out.
I I think it's a very bad choice because you haven't optimized Unreal Engine 5 yet, and you're already moving to the next one. You are definitely, since it's unoptimized, you are definitely going to have compatibility issues for the developers that are going to jump ship to the Unreal Engine 6, that they want to switch immediately, like during development. You are definitely going to have compatibility issues. And
Unless if they were doing it the same as Unreal Engine 4 to 5, because the bridge was way small to do that. It was very easily like to transition your game to Unreal Engine
yeah,
5
it's
from
it's
4. It
definitely
was way faster.
it's definitely going to be like that. But I'm just saying that.
I I personally think there is a massive technical problems with 5 at the moment, and that's why we upgrading on 6 because they have to fix. In order to fix, they would take these problems. They would take a lot of time, so they would say, you know what, let's make a new engine. Let's upgrade this engine completely. You know what I mean?
I
I don't
hope
know,
that's the
dude. It's
case.
just we'll see.
We hope that's the
We'll see.
case. Definitely, we hope that's the case. But I don't know.
Again, I'm gonna say the same thing, right? We don't need pretty graphics. We need we need to see revolution in gameplay. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? We need again good games, as I said so many times in this podcast already,
yeah,
and we are 3 episodes
yeah,
only. Like that's what I'm saying. It's like we need good games, good writing, good characters. That's what we need to focus on, right? In my opinion, people they might argue again with photorealistic and all that crap, but graphics peaked with Red Dead Redemption 2.
yeah,
It peaked. Let's move on. Let's
yeah.
move on gameplay, on other like
What
aspects that they need improvement.
what we need in gaming right now is optimization.
Yeah.
We do not need to evolve the graphics. Okay, the graphics have peaked at the moment, but you cannot tell me that if I buy right now a 5090, a car that costs more than 3,000 euros or dollars, both actually, you cannot tell me that I cannot play a game natively at 4K ultra. Like, are you
Yeah.
mad? Imagine imagine like 15 years ago, you had a 680, okay? That card would cost like, I don't know, almost $1,000, something like that. It was the top of the line back in the day. Imagine if you got that card, which was a lot of money back then, and I told you that you cannot play the latest games at 1080p for or at ultra. That would be like insane. Back then, you could play any game at ultra, like a high FPS count, even though we didn't have like the exotic monitors that we have right now with 144 and 240 FPS and stuff like that. But you could get a lot of FPS at high settings, ultra settings. And right
Yeah.
now, if you turn off DLSS and whatever, and frame generation and FSR and everything, if you turn that off, you get like mid 40s, mid 50s with the most exotic graphics card on the market. That's ridiculous. We need optimization at the moment. We do not need
Yeah.
better graphics. Graphics are
Yeah, we
great.
need to ditch graphics.
Graphics are great.
And we proved that games, especially like in the last like 5 years, we proved that we don't need great graphics to have great games.
Yeah.
So many good games that don't have very good graphics nowadays, and they performing really well. You just need a very good game. You know what I mean?
You just
That's what you
need,
need.
yeah, of course, you just need a good game. Yeah. Maybe the graphics are, sometimes it's an aspect of a good game, but that's not a requirement for a good game. You can have a good
Yeah,
game with 8-bit pixelated graphics. That doesn't matter.
yeah. Let's not ditch creativity, and as we said, and let's not ditch like a good game because of good graphics. You know what I mean? You need to have a very good game. Your foundation has to be good. If you can make it with good graphics, that's good.
Yeah, that's great, but you don't need to.
It shouldn't be a feature, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. So let's move on to the second main topic that we need to cover for today.
Mm-hmm.
Ubisoft. Ubisoft came out.
Oh, not again.
I I'm I'm saying not again, but not for the same reason. I have to blur out ads on and side again for this topic, definitely. But anyway, Ubisoft came out with their earnings report, and what do you know? It's terrible. It's terrible for the company. The report shows that the company had a 21% reduction of revenue since last year and 70% from year to year. 20%,
Okay.
when we're talking about, in billions of dollars, 20% is a lot, a lot of money.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so they said that the reduction is due to, and I quote, the softer new release schedule and new operating model. Ubisoft commits to pursuing and completing the execution of this transformation over the next financial year, but warns this year is expected to represent a low point in our free cash flow trajectory, along with a softer release slate and reconstructing costs. This report also confirms 7 projects have now been cancelled, with 6 games delayed. If any of that sounds good news, like good news, you are a terrible listener. Okay,
Yeah, definitely.
these are
Or
the
illiterate.
most tragic news. Imagine being a shareholder in this company. Oh yeah,
I need to Google this quickly. Tell me.
we had a 21% revenue reduction this year, but we're just gonna reconstruct our costs, and we are having a softer release slate. And the shareholders are like, what? What
Yeah,
is going
that's
on? Why?
it is crazy. It is like at the moment I think it's five. The stock price I think is like €5 29 or like
I'm
that's
I'm gonna buy.
crazy.
Can you check
You
that?
either
Can you check that? Can
yeah
you check that? How
the
much?
deep. Let's buy the deep. I
Yeah,
think now let's buy the deep.
uh, right before Assassin's Creed Black Flag comes out, you need to buy the dip. Can you check how much the price is at this point of the
I think it's
stock?
five years. That's what I said. I want
So
to
you
try
can
to check it out.
you can buy two stocks of two pieces of stock from Ubisoft for a pack of cigarettes in the UK. I think that's a fantastic development in Ubisoft
Damn,
business.
dude.
Uh, I want to argue that is anybody surprised? Like we talked about this in the previous episode. Ubisoft's game, you know, Ubisoft gave us as little as possible for us to expect with their past 4 or 5 releases uh, in the Ubisoft franchise. They had a great trilogy at first. They had Ezio's adventure with Revelations and Brotherhood. Brotherhood was Altair, right? I think so.
No,
No, it was Ezio.
no, it was
So
Ezio.
Ezio was in, yes, of course. Uh, we had Ezio's adventures. We had the original trilogy, and then we have Black Flag. Everything after that was mediocre at best. Maybe Origins was good, you know. The,
Do you know what makes me? I'll tell you something. What is really crazy for me is that this company can almost generate 2 billion, almost $2 billion annually, and they can still go very well or very badly. And that shows to me how bloated is this company. You know what I mean? With people that they don't need, or all that. Like I just don't get it. It's other studios they would love to have like 500 annually. You know what I
they're
mean?
they're probably burning literally money. You have to be. Where is this money going to?
Dude, 16,000 people that they have. You know what I
Why?
mean? That's where it goes.
Why? They came out with Assassin's Creed Shadows. That game
Hmm.
was, I don't know. I would say it was mediocre at best. It didn't look good. I mean, the terrain and how the world looked, it was fantastic. But the
As
character,
always.
as always, yes. But the character models and the
Yeah,
fighting
everything.
animations were not great. They were good, but they were not exceptional or whatever. Everything after Black Flag has been mediocre at best, and those games cannot hold a candle to the original games, to the original trilogy, and it's a shame.
And, and that's why they try to grind, obviously, on remakes and remasters again.
Yeah, of course.
That's the way, you know what I mean? That's the way.
We've said it. I mean, I've said it in the previous episode, but obviously they are recreating Black Flag as an obvious, I wouldn't want to say cash grab, but they are doing it just so they can get a bit of revenue for the
Yeah.
company.
And is and there is some stuff that I really want to discuss about Black Flag. I don't know if you want as well, but the latest gameplays, 7 out of 10, they're good.
Mhm.
And when it comes to story and animations and all that,
Yeah,
it's really weird, bro.
yeah.
It's
You
really
you you
weird.
mentioned that, and I've checked it out. Like
The facial
the whole
animations are
game,
weird, dude.
the whole game, like apart from the facial expressions, as you saying right now, the game looks great. It looks. I mean, of course, after like
Fantastic, yeah.
I don't know, after 12 or 13 years after the original release. Of course, the game looks fantastic. But then
Yeah.
you get to the cutscenes, and the facial animations are kind of like, what my reaction, my first reaction when we were talking about was, what, why is his face like that? Like, the Edward's face was kind of weird. He was like this. I don't know.
Yeah, dude.
I don't know what's happening. But I'm really bummed out about how this company is moving forward, because they seven projects have been canceled, 6 games have been delayed, and
I'm not surprised.
now we get the financial report, and it's very, very bad. But
Lower than last year.
I'm not. I'm, you know, I'm bummed out about it, but I'm not surprised. Is anybody surprised? Like,
No one, I think.
we've had the original games, and the trilogy, and Ezio's story, and Black Flag, and after that we've got nothing. Like, the original creator, well, I mean, one of the original creators, Patrice Desilets, that's his name, worked on the games until maybe I would say like the middle or the end of production of Assassin's Creed 2. And then he saw what Ubisoft wanted to do with the franchise, and he just left because he saw that they wanted to do what they did,
Yeah.
what they actually did
I'm not surprised, dude.
with, after, with Unity and Syndicate and all those games after that. That's what.
Don't forget that Sandfall
Mhm.
Studios Interactive, I think, the devs behind Clair Obscure, they were working on Ubisoft as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Don't forget that. Like, you see that many people, they leaving the everything. You know, what I mean, they just leaving the company behind because it becomes it's so massive now. We're talking about 16,000 employees, bro.
Yeah.
16,000 employees. Mind you, that since last year they lay off another like 1,200.
1,200. Yeah. It's crazy to
Yeah,
think about it,
imagine.
that you have so many employees. But it's different, having devs leave your team, and having your, lead creator.
Talent, your main talent,
Uh,
basically. Yeah,
the Patrice Desilets was the game. He wasn't part of the team. He wasn't. He came up, I mean, mostly with the idea of the game, of the brotherhood, of
yeah.
how the world was, basically the world building
The
was
creed. Yeah,
his idea. And when he saw that Ubisoft wanted to turn this, to turn these 3 games into 14 games, he left in the middle of production. So,
I'm
I
not
mean,
surprised, dude. I'm not
we
surprised.
got, after he left, we got 2 memorable games. Okay, we had Assassin's Creed 3, which had, in my opinion, a very, very bad ending, because Desolé wasn't there to guide the, development and
Yeah,
writing, of course.
yeah.
Then, after Desmond's story, we had Black Flag, which was great. Okay, it was a
Black
great.
Hole was really great,
It
actually.
was
Yeah,
it was fantastic. It did had its flaws, but it was an overall great experience as a game. And
yeah.
then,
And it was the first game. Sorry to interrupt.
yeah,
It was the first game that you could feel that they shifting away from stealth mechanics.
I mean, yeah,
Like,
but
you could see that it wasn't that stealthy as it was the other
yes,
ones. You know
but
what I mean?
that was very good, because it tied into the storyline, because Edward was not an assassin.
Yeah, it became in the end. But
Yes,
all I'm trying to say is like
but
one of the key aspects of the whole franchise was the stealth game, and from this point on, they just realized that,
Yeah, I'm just
but
I'm
even
just trying
even
to say
Connor,
that
I mean,
it, I'm just trying
yeah,
to say that even if they chose that deliberately, it made sense.
it made sense, but not for the franchise.
Of course, yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
In hindsight it didn't, but it kind of made sense because Edward was not an assassin. But anyway,
yeah, yeah.
um yeah, after Black Flag, we haven't had any good Assassin's Creed games. Not on the title. I'm
Yeah.
not talking about the title of the game, but Unity, Unity, and don't get me wrong, y- Odyssey, Odyssey were not Assassin's Creed games,
I
and
know. After Origin, yeah,
yes, and I am. We we are Greeks, okay? We haven't mentioned that till now, but we are Greeks. We should be proud of. It made sense, right? To be proud of Odyssey. I
yeah.
want nothing to do with Odyssey. I
Rough stuff, rough.
call it a hot take. I don't care. Okay.
It was a good game, but it wasn't Assassin's Creed. Let's say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Personally, I don't like the Assassin's Creed games after Black Flag.
Yeah,
They're not bad
neither do
games.
I.
They are not bad games. They are just not good enough games
Good.
to be called
Yeah,
Assassin's Creed. And they are not good enough games because they are not following, by example, the original trilogy and the other
the
games.
original vision. Yeah,
That's why they are not good
definitely.
enough. If
I
if
totally
you
agree
if
with
you
you on that.
change the title and make it something else, they would be fantastic games. But they are Assassin's Creed games, and they have to follow the vision. That's simple as that.
Which they haven't done for years.
Of
Yeah,
course, they haven't done for years.
but the same thing happened with Far Cry. The same thing happened with Splinter Cell. I mean, Splinter Cell has already been ditched. Like, can never come back. Yeah,
That's what happens when
it's huge. It's a very huge studio. Like other studios, they would beg to have their IPs, and they don't have it.
yeah
Like we discussed about Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, Ghost Recon, Splinter Cell, Rayman, which was an amazing platformer back in the day. I mean, they don't even do anything with Rayman as
yeah they
well.
don't do anything. But yeah, but
And
that's what you have. That's what you get when you have the wheel of fortune, and you are just churning out games just for the sake of publishing games. The game has to be
definitely,
good. The game has to be good.
yeah, and I will say that again. Sometimes some franchises, it's clear when they need to stop. There is nothing wrong to put a tombstone. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And say this franchise that has come to an end. It's fine. Let everyone have it in their mind as great as it was. Why we need to change the whole game, the whole vision of the franchise, just because we need to farm the name of the franchise. You know, just leave it behind. You have an amazing company, especially back then.
Mhm.
We're talking about Black Flag, right? If they would stop Assassin's Creed, but back in Black Flag days, I'm pretty sure everything else that they would do, everyone would be hyped to play the game. You know what I mean?
Of course.
The new game. It's not like people they're around Ubisoft because I mean nowadays that's what they do anyway. But back then, Ubisoft was a massive company and was they releasing W's after W's after W's. So if you would say, you know what, Assassin's Creed finish, we don't have anything else to do now that Desmond is dead, you know, and maybe the spin-off of a game as Black Flag that as it was, it was a nice game anyway. Close it, make a new IP. How you came up with the idea? That's what I'm saying. Like this decade of 2000s, so many new IPs born. You know what I mean? The other decades that we have, like tens and twenties, especially for Ubisoft, we're talking
Mm.
about Ubisoft, right? They just farming the existing ones. They don't do anything else. They just farming the existing franchises.
Have they even released a new IP in like the past 10 years?
They tried to do with the game. I think it was 2017 or 18 when they released Breath of the Wild first, Nintendo, and then after that they released
Oh, the
a Greek
Immortal Phoenix one.
mythology,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
Immortal Phoenix Rising, yeah, which was a very decent and nice idea, in my opinion. I was kind of bummed that
It was very
they
interesting.
this yeah.
Was very interesting. It wasn't a flop at all. It was a successful game.
I think it was a flop because people didn't bought it. They didn't, not many people buying it because it was they find it as a cheap copy of Breath of the Wild, which I'm not. I feel a little bit like that, yeah, but it had potential as a franchise.
I mean,
They could improve on this game a lot.
maybe they saw that it wasn't going that well, and then they said that people don't like this, and we should stop.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
what can you say about Ubisoft?
Ubisoft, yeah,
Ubisoft things, just
classic.
Ubisoft things.
Eh, and Division, I think, and Division was another new IP that they came up with.
No, that was Tom Clancy's.
Yeah, but it was a Division. The Division they didn't make a Division before.
I mean, yeah, but it's not a new
They had
IP.
the Rainbow Six. They had the Rainbow Six from Tom Clancy. They have the Ghost Recon. So yeah, if you want to actually take the whole like franchise as a whole from books, whatever Tom Clancy was, whatever then yeah, I do get what you're saying. But if we will speak about like how a new idea came up, it came up with the Division
Yeah.
because Division was in kind of an MMO kind of a game.
Yes.
I don't
Yes.
know, third person. So yeah, so it was a new idea basically.
Mm.
They haven't made anything like that before, and the crew probably. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the
You
crew.
see, if as we talking, we have new ideas. They make new ideas, which they were kind of successful. That's it.
Yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame. Anyway, I think we've
Yeah.
covered everything that we wanted to cover.
Yep.
Um, Finally, we have a new episode after a week off. Hopefully, we are going to have enough news to cover next week for a new episode. I would like to thank everybody watching this video. If you liked our content here, please leave us a like and hit us with a subscribe. My name is Michael.
My name is George.
And we hope to see you next week in our next episode. See you.
See you next time.